Hello and welcome. My name is Dick Faderly. I'm a senior manager from OTB Solutions, a management consultancy specializing in leveraging the power of SharePoint 2010 as an integration platform for your core line of business systems. Specifically in this presentation, we will be discussing integrating some of the key features of SharePoint 2010 with JD Edwards. This is a re-recording of a presentation that we gave at a conference in Chicago in October of 2011. In this presentation, we will discuss why you should consider using SharePoint 2010 as a front end to your core mission-critical applications. We'll also show you a conceptual demo of how you can use SharePoint 2010 as a UX replacement. While the specific business processes here are core human resources functionality, the ideas captured in this presentation apply equally well to all other areas of process automation, including purchasing, accounts receivable, materials management, and others. We'll also spend a little bit of time discussing the architectural considerations in leveraging these kinds of solutions and some of the key takeaways we have learned in our work of integrating SharePoint with mission-critical applications. Chief among these considerations are the potential for the SharePoint platform to drive user adoption and access to core business systems while maintaining information and process integrity. All this while eliminating the core shortcomings of most transactional or mission-critical applications. As you can see from the short list provided here, there are huge advantages to be gained in usability and process improvement through the use of the SharePoint platform. That, coupled with the human-centric workflow capabilities of SharePoint, make for a compelling reason to integrate SharePoint 2010 with JD Edwards. Let's discuss now some of the pain points experienced by key stakeholders when considering the deployment of these types of solutions. Typically, you find most mission-critical applications are used by highly trained personnel, and that access is tightly controlled and limited to ensure integrity in processes and with data. Additionally, we find that attempts at implementing self-service applications fail, in many cases due to the shortcomings in the user experience. So while the value of these kinds of solutions is apparent to most concerned, system owners are hesitant to open up access because they are responsible for ensuring the continued successful processing of the core business-critical system. Further, managers, because of the shortcomings of the native application, find access to critical capabilities and timely information nearly impossible. This in turn hinders decision-making and slows the accomplishment of key tasks. And more generally, employees throughout the organization are confronted by awkward and poorly coordinated processes, which may rely upon the use of actual paper forms or email, which increase the occurrence of errors, duplicates efforts, and dramatically reduces overall effectiveness throughout the organization. So imagine, if you will, a sort of nirvana, one in which access to key business data and processes can be distributed throughout the organization, enabling decision-making and removing core process bottlenecks, all while maintaining process and data integrity. Being able to unlock the rich business data found in core systems and enabling self-service throughout the organization can drive huge economies and foster greater innovation and process efficiencies. So the question remains, how do you get there? We will discuss one approach during the remainder of this presentation, which focuses on leveraging the key capabilities of third-party products and SharePoint to access information in JD Edwards, and design processes which leverage and update that data. In the case of this demo, all without developer-produced code. So let's get right to the demo. What we will be showing in this conceptual demo is the ability to create a user experience in SharePoint 2010 which is highly branded, doesn't look like SharePoint, and certainly doesn't look like JD Edwards. So let's take a closer look at the user experience. As you can see here, this site doesn't look like a SharePoint out-of-the-box site. However, it leverages all of the capabilities of the SharePoint platform, including navigation, out-of-the-box web parts, integration with search including business connectivity services, and a focus on a clean, highly readable, uncluttered interface. Now let's jump into the integration portion of the demo. When we look at surfacing data from JD Edwards, it's not about reproducing that user experience within JDE, but rather about being able to surface that information and those processes in the context of who that user is and what they are trying to accomplish. In this instance, understanding that the person logged in is a manager and has direct reports allows us to audience target content specifically to them. This is being done using the user profile service and audience targeting capabilities native to SharePoint. When coupled with the rich information about personnel found in JDE and Active Directory, you can see that a highly targeted user experience can be achieved. Let's first look at a process that would be common to all employees in an organization: updating the W-4 form. As you can see on this page, it looks almost exactly like a printed W-4 form. This was created in InfoPath. With InfoPath, you have rich client-side processing available, such as validation and edits, allowing you to reduce errors and round trips to JD Edwards, vastly improving the user experience and reducing errors. Additionally, you can see here that we are pulling in information from JD Edwards to pre-populate the form, further reducing errors and improving the user experience. Clear messaging is returned to the user indicating whether or not the action was successful, and the user can move on to the next task. All of this was accomplished by pushing this directly into JD Edwards using external content types and web service interfaces. Another key aspect to process improvement is not just making information available, but allowing and facilitating the end user to take action based upon that information. In the case illustrated here, we are using business connectivity services to surface employee data and to expose specific business processes that are available to the manager of those employees. The case that we will demonstrate here is a complex workflow largely managed by JD Edwards in the creation and staffing of positions within JDE. However, the actual decision and action taken by the hiring manager is typically done outside of the JDE system. The resultant paperwork and processes are awkward and often result in long delays in the actual hiring of staff. As you can see from this InfoPath form, we are retrieving information from JD Edwards regarding the candidate in question, and based upon the position we are hiring for, have already pre-populated it with the pertinent information. In some cases, none of this information may be available for update by the hiring manager. In others, for instance salaried employee hires, there may be rules about how far a manager can deviate from the salary grade. These deviations can be handled through workflows within SharePoint and after approval processed within JD Edwards. Further, SharePoint 2010 can support electronic signatures and other audit requirements as needed. One of the powerful capabilities of SharePoint is its support for workflow. In some cases, as demonstrated here, richer workflows integrating with multiple systems is desired. In those cases, additional ISV products can be integrated with SharePoint to support those needs and still reduce or eliminate the need for developer-produced code. This is key to driving an optimal total cost of ownership while delivering a highly functional business solution. In the case of the workflow shown here, we have integrated the new hire process with the provisioning of a user account in Active Directory, as well as the email box in Exchange. The information regarding the user's email account is also fed back into the line of business system, closing the loop and eliminating the need for manual processing or the creation of custom interfaces between systems. We think solutions enabled by the combination of SharePoint 2010 and line of business applications are incredibly powerful in their ability to surface and interact with mission-critical information, all while reducing the requirement for custom-developed code and leveraging the massive investments made by the business in JD Edwards. This, coupled with the core capabilities of SharePoint 2010, enable the business to respond more rapidly to a changing market environment and to innovate faster than their competition. Coupled with third-party products, the ability to leverage the existing investments in business processes within JD Edwards by publishing web services means that you can rapidly develop robust, rich, end-user applications that address business-critical needs in record time. So really, what does this all boil down to? We think we've learned some key lessons over the years by integrating these types of solutions with SharePoint. Among these are: Select the combination of architecture components that get you the furthest fastest, and drive to a total cost of ownership which makes sense for your situation. Keep it simple when you first start out. Don't try necessarily to solve the most intractable problem in the organization out of the gate. With a combination of SharePoint and third-party products, you can create a portfolio of initiatives which identify low-hanging fruit on which you can cut your teeth and drive early wins in the organization. Also, we recommend a launch cycle of 3 months or fewer to make sure that you stay focused on the most critical business needs and deliver incremental business value. When creating workflows, either within SharePoint or those leveraging tools such as those shown in this demo, keep them simple. There is a tendency to account for all contingencies and to provide multiple routes for escalation and resolution. While these workflows may look good on paper, they typically are not supportable and once deployed are frequently not usable. As I hope we've said throughout this presentation, this is largely not a technology problem, but rather a user experience problem. That is not to say that there are not significant technological hurdles and effort to be expended in the creation of these solutions. However, the long pole in the tent is more likely to be human interaction design, usability, and organizational change management, rather than any particular technical hurdle to be overcome. And lastly, we don't think we can overemphasize this. Leverage the rich ISV ecosystem that Microsoft has developed around the SharePoint platform. If during the process of designing the solution you hear the words, "I can do that faster in," or "I can do that better with," it probably means that more thorough research is needed to understand the full capabilities of the ecosystem and of SharePoint. So in closing, we at OTB Solutions feel that a key aspect to us delivering value to our clients is in our ability to bring engineering rigor and design thinking to all of the solutions we propose. Clearly, no matter how elegant a solution is, if the end users cannot or will not use it, it's a failure. I wanted to thank you for taking the time today to listen to this recording and extend our offer to answer any questions you may have about implementing this type of solution. You can find our website at www.otbsolutions.com. Thank you.